So today, guys, I'm going to be starting my season previews for all 31 NHL teams. Pretty much how I'm going to structure it is, first I'm going to talk about their offseason additions, offseason losses, and then I'm going to discuss their lineup and how I think it is. Then I'm going to discuss where I think they will finish in their division, and then the needs they need to improve to get better. So the first team, obviously, I'm probably going to be going in alphabetical order unless I want to switch it up and do what teams I want to do, but I'm going to be starting off with the Anaheim Ducks. So the players they added this season were Patrick Eaves, who scored 32 goals, which you can't get enough goals scored in this day. So you add 32 goals and Patrick Eaves. They signed Ryan Miller, who was the best goalie in free agency, who will probably be playing backup behind Jonathan Bernier. So they have two pretty good American goalies in net, and that pretty much ends the notable offseason additions. Their offseason losses: Clayton Stoner, who they lost to Vegas, which is good. That gets the money off of their books. Stoner wasn't really that good for them, but they had to pay a price, and they had to give up Shea Theodore, who had an amazing playoffs. I mean, 8 points in 14 games doesn't really pop out at you, but he played amazing defensively, controlled the play, did everything, so that hurts. He's a defenseman that's going to be good in the future, and Vegas has a key piece there. So, and then they also lost Jonathan Bernier. So, if you look at their losses, Patrick Eaves, that's a plus. Ryan Miller, that's a plus over Jonathan Bernier. So that pretty much cancel each other out, and Ryan Miller's better. And you can argue if they had Ryan Miller last year, they maybe could have gotten past Nashville instead of having Jonathan Bernier, but nah, it's a different debate. And then Clayton Stoner and Shea Theodore. So losing Shea Theodore hurts, but they have more young depth coming up on the blue line, so it won't really affect them that much. So discussing their lineup is probably going to be the major part of this series. So for their lines, for their first line, I have Ryan Getzlov, and on his wing, that right wing, I have Corey Perry and Nick Ritchie. Getzlov and Perry, they play together. They play well together, and Getzlov's easily a first line center, and you don't really want to spread those two out. Then you throw Nick Ritchie, who really had that coming out party in the playoffs and should be in for a breakout year this year, so he'll probably be right beside Getzlov and Perry to do that. The second line, I have Ricard Raquel, who was another standout in the playoffs. And with that jumping up from Ricard Raquel, Ryan Kessler can be pushed down to that third line center. And just to clear up, I hate Ryan Kessler, but that's what he needs to do. He needs to be a third line center, that third line defensive center. So their second line, I have Silverberg at right wing. Jakob Silverberg, I thought was gonna go to Vegas earlier before they released the expansion list. I thought he was gonna go. So they keep Silverberg. So you play Silverberg with Ricard Raquel. That's that young shooting line. Then you throw Andrew Cogliano on the other wing. Or you can, I think Cogliano will probably be interchangeable with Patrick Eaves. I could see Patrick Eaves stepping into that line. Yeah. I'll have Patrick Eaves ahead of Andrew Cogliano. But so for the third line, I have Andre Case, who is a guy they're going to need to step in on an ELC because obviously ELCs are gold. You can't ever get enough of them. So you have Andre Case on the right wing, Ryan Kessler at center, and Andrew Cogliano on the wing. I mean, they're going to be able to do that third line job, and so that's easily a check mark. You have Ryan Kessler. The idea when you have your third line is they defense, shutdown pairing, and so for the first line, I have Nicholas Kerdiles, who should be able to step in and add a little bit of sandpaper. Antoine Vermette, who definitely could easily be a feasible third line center, but he'll be pushed down to fourth line center, and Jared Bull. So definitely the plus with Anaheim's lineup is their center depth. They have Ryan Getzlov, who's an easy first line center, so you have a check there. Ricard Raquel, easy second line center, and Ryan Kessler, who's an easy shoe-in for a third line center. One of the top defensive forwards in the league. I definitely don't like him, but he's good. And you have Antoine Vermette, so that's a really strong center core, and as it's shown, if you have a strong center core, you will go far. And then they have pieces on the wing and Nick Ritchie, who's really shown out. Patrick Eaves, who I think you could probably pencil in around 20 goals. And if Getzlov and Perry are scoring, this team shouldn't have problems getting goals like they did at some rough patches last year. And you also have Jakob Silverberg who can score. Okay, you get down to their defenses where it really gets good. You have, in the first pairing, I have Cam Fowler on the left side and Sami Vatanen on the right side. Vatanen really stood out in the playoffs, and they're lucky they definitely didn't lose him to expansion. We have Hampus Lindholm on the second line. I have Hampus Lindholm, and on the right side I have Josh Manson. Manson's another guy on this Anaheim team that came out in the playoffs and shown he could really play. And then for their the third defensive pairing, I have Brandon Montour and Corbin Holzer. Holzer didn't really play in the NHL that much, but Brandon Montour also had a good playoffs last year. And yeah, so their defense, they definitely have a strong top four. That's really all that's definitely their strong suit. That and their center court is definitely the Ducks' strong suit. Look at their goalies, they have John Gibson and Ryan Miller. But the question is, can John Gibson be a number one? Like, you have two guys who are capable of playing the number one role, but John Gibson didn't do that well in the playoffs last year, which that might cost them his playing time. But I don't know. So the lineup's good. I mean, if you look at it, Corey Perry, first line winger, check. Getzlov, first line center. Nick Ritchie is not a first line winger. That's the thing. That's their problem right there, but I'll get into what they need later. So that's the problem. And then their defense is good. Vatanen and Fowler, I think, are really going to come into their own this year. I think Fowler's going to have a big offensive year. Same with Vatanen. I think they're going to light it up over in Anaheim. So yeah. And their goalies, that's an easy check. So when we discuss where I have them finishing, I have them finishing third in the Pacific. I feel like they have a strong enough D-core, and their center core is good enough. They'll definitely be able to get into the playoffs. I have them finishing behind the Oilers and the Flames. I don't see them being able to hop over those teams, but easily. They're in the Pacific Division with this definitely no Central or Metro Division. But yeah, I have them finishing third. They have the goaltending, they have the defense, and they have the forwards. They're going to make the playoffs, I feel like. I mean, there really are no shoe-in teams for the playoffs to me, but I believe they have a strong enough team to make the playoffs. And they really don't have any real locker room distractions from what I have. They haven't really lost any key pieces. Shea Theodore is obviously a good piece, but they have other defensemen who can step in, and Jonathan Bernier by no means is really that good. So now to discuss their needs to improve, or their needs to be good, their needs as a team. They need Getzlov and Perry to play like Getzlov and Perry from 2 years ago when they just scored at will. Just scored at will. They need a first line left winger to go with Getzlov and Perry, but no one's just handing out first liners, but that's what they need, and they need a first line winger. And they also need a third line right winger because they're, as Pittsburgh showed, good depth is how you win cups. And I feel like Anaheim could really take another step forward if they added to that depth. So that's how I see Anaheim doing. Yeah, they don't really have any major holes in their lineup besides that left wing side. I mean, obviously Anaheim's no fun team to play against, as you can just look at Ryan Johansson's quotes, but I see them finishing third. I don't see them winning the division because Edmonton's on that rise. Same with Calgary. Calgary's on the rise. But it's really a toss-up at this point. It's the off-season. Anything can happen in the regular season. Really anything. But yeah, so I mean, just as their depth, Chris Wagner can definitely step in for a few games. They might throw him in just to add that real force. If there's an injury, Dennis Rasmussen can step in and play sheltered minutes in the NHL. And you have Logan Shaw, who might challenge for that fourth line role. And then obviously as their seventh defenseman, they have Kevin Bieksa, who can step in and play a limited time. Definitely shouldn't be playing top four time, because I feel like if someone gets injured in their top four, Montour will be able to step in. And then maybe you bring in Bieksa. Bieksa is not bad. I feel like they'll probably throw in BX in for those California rivalry games just to add in that big hitting presence that you obviously need in rivalry games, because things do get pretty nasty. But I obviously don't like the Ducks. I don't know if I've ever said that before, but I don't like the Ducks. But I see them finishing third as much as I don't want them to. I see them finishing third, and yeah. I don't know how far they go in the playoffs. It's a little too much to discuss, but they're definitely going to need to make it in the division, because I don't think anyone outside of the Pacific Division is going to make the playoffs as the Central Division's just a stack. Same case with the Atlantic Division, it's too stacked, but Anaheim's definitely going to be able to take that next step forward if they added that depth. If Cardillos can come in, show that he can play in the NHL, Andre Case can show he can play that two-way style, and if they were to add that top line left winger, things would be good in Anaheim. But I feel like Anaheim can have another really good year here. I don't see them winning their division. They could probably move in a second, but yeah, that's how I see Anaheim going. So yeah, pretty much with these season previews, I'll probably try to be putting out one a day, but if you guys disagreed with anything I said, make sure to say it in the comments. Tell me what you think of how I have Anaheim's rosters and their lineups going in the comments. If you think I did something wrong, tell me, because, yeah, just tell me. And if you guys like this video, leave a like. And if you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe. It's free. And you turn on notifications so you know when I upload a video. But, yep, that'll be it, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.